Update. Am I the a-hole for losing my temper at sister-in-law after she ruined the meal I made? Original post. My sister-in-law Ashley is, for lack of a nicer word, obnoxious. She constantly does whatever she wants, even when you ask her not to. She thinks she's right above everyone else, even when she's dead wrong. And she's just got this very stereotypical baby sister attitude where she acts like she can do whatever she wants, and nobody's allowed to be mad at her because she's baby. Yes, that's something she regularly says. My husband says she's the youngest of their family, so her acting that way is normal. But I pointed out I'm the youngest of my family and I've never acted that way. I don't like sister-in-law, but I've been polite and kept a peaceful relationship for my husband's sake. Until today. Today was the first time since 2019 that my husband or I have been able to see our small friend group in person. We all got our shots 2 months ago and decided to meet up finally for dinner. I cooked while our friends either pitched in ingredients, made appetizers, or brought wine. I made pasta ravioli by hand, which was hard. I made enough for me, Hubs, and our friends. But after they arrived and we all caught up, and while I was finishing the food, sister-in-law showed up. She let herself in and greeted everyone happily. They know her and said hi, but I subtly asked Hubs what she was doing here. Turns out he had mentioned the gathering to her, and he guessed she assumed she was invited? I told him to tell her to leave because she can't just invite herself like this. He said that would be humiliating for her and asked if she could stay. I was annoyed, but agreed. Things were fine at the start. I had a few sips of wine to relax and was about to plate everyone's food at a kitchen island to bring it to them, but forgot Parmesan, so went to get it. I heard sister-in-law say she'd help bring the food to the table. I said no thanks and to stay seated. My back was to her and she said something I missed because of the loud clang of a pot hitting the floor. I heard everyone gasp and I closed my eyes. I knew what happened but didn't want to look. When I did, I just started crying. Hours of work splattered on the floor. Sister-in-law said it was okay. It was just some pasta, I'll buy more. I lost it. I called her a stupid witch that ruined the entire dinner because she refuses to listen. She started boo-hooing and I told her to shut up and leave. She ran out crying and I sat down to cry too. Our friends consoled me and Hubs tried to say I went too far, but our friends told him he was an a-hole and sister-in-law was in the wrong. They helped clean and we ordered pizza. But after they left, Hubs and I were flooded with calls from his family saying I was a horrible spoiled brat who made their baby cry over some stupid food. Now I'm just crying and feeling like garbage. Did I go too far? I don't usually get so angry or curse. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Hub said he understands I'm upset the food was wasted, but he doesn't think my outburst was warranted and was actually kind of extreme. Tomorrow is his off day and I told him he's going to be making the dish like I did, by hand and on his own, and then at the end we'll see if he thinks my outburst was unwarranted. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. This incident was the straw that broke the camel's back. I've made stuffed ravioli a few thousand times and it's always difficult and expensive. It's not just pasta. It's hours and hours of planning, prep, and work that she completely dismissed like it didn't matter. Like you don't matter. That was on top of her barging in when she wasn't invited. Frankly, I think she got off light, and so did your husband. He really needs a reality check. His sister's behavior is not normal and has nothing to do with her being the youngest. Enough is enough. I'm the baby of my family, youngest of all my siblings and cousins. So I'm the youngest. And my family would have looked at me like I'd sprouted another head if I'd ever acted even half as bad as my sister-in-law does. It baffled me when I first saw her parents/older siblings act like it was nothing. I'm the youngest in my family as well, and if anything, it made me act more mature so I could keep up with my older siblings. I hated being referred to as the baby. Not the a-hole. You overreacted in a moment of high temper, but she inserted herself into a dinner uninvited, disregarded the hostess's wishes, and then downplayed her disaster. You had every right to be upset, and she decided to turn the family against you. She's the a-hole. I don't usually flip out like that. I'm very level-headed, but seeing my hours of hard work dumped on the floor just broke me. Since she offered to buy more, hand her an invoice to cover the cost of ingredients plus an hourly charge for how long you spent making them. $50 an hour sounds reasonable, right? Sounds good to me. You never mentioned her actual age? She's 31. Oh geez, you just made my feet curl in cringe. Now first update. Hubs made pasta for the first time today, and it went much like I'd anticipated. He was all confidence and it'll be easy during the first 30 minutes. But towards the end of the first hour, that disappeared as the burn in his arms really set in from making enough dough for almost 60 ravioli. I did not lift a finger to help him knead, since I didn't get any help when I did it. After the dough was done and wrapped up in the fridge, he made a filling which took another 40 or so minutes. Then the dough was brought out and he had to start crafting the ravioli, all by hand after rolling the dough out. Lord, that went on for ages. Just rolling some dough out, cutting out squares, filling them and putting the top on, rinse and repeat until the dough and filling was all gone. All in all, the entire process from start to finish for him on his own took a little over 4 hours. And that's with us not actually cooking any of the ravioli. Also, he didn't make any sauce or cook any shrimp for the ravioli to be served in/with. Also, he didn't prepare any salad to go with it. And when I told him this, that there was still more to do, he almost started crying. He started saying sorry at the 1 hour mark and hasn't stopped apologizing since. We had a long talk about his sister and the dinner she ruined, the other times she's pulled similar incidents, there's a lot, and how him and his family always let her get away with it. He says he knows how they treat her isn't normal and he doesn't like it, but was raised to just go with the flow regarding Ashley. But he said he's going to call her and tell her we need some space from her for now. Second update. Hubs just got a message from his cousin of Ashley laughing and bragging about intentionally spilling the pasta to teach me a lesson for being such a snobby witch. A handful of you all thought she did it on purpose, but I didn't actually think she did until hearing her admit to it. I have never seen my husband this angry before. I don't know what's going to happen now. Now for the final update. Hi everyone. So much has happened since the pasta fiasco that I'd honestly completely forgotten about this account until this morning. When I logged on, I saw that I had a bunch of requests for an update. So here I am. I was going to post this in an edit on my original post, but it ended up being way too long. Someone said I should just post it in the comments, but they're locked, so I decided to just make my own post and put a link to it in the original AITA post since. I'm not sure how to do an official update post on the AITA sub. Sorry. So for the update. Like I said, a lot happened since then. I'll try to remember all of it. But be warned, I'm just going to put down everything as I remember it and try and make it in order. But it's been like 4 months, so I may not do it perfectly. Here goes. So sister-in-law bragged to her and Hub's cousin Brenda that she ruined the dinner on purpose. Hubs went to confront his family. Sister-in-law denied everything till Hubs played a recording. Hubs banned sister-in-law from our house until she apologized to me sincerely and reimbursed us for all the wasted food. Sister-in-law went ballistic, sobbing and throwing a massive tantrum until mother-in-law tried calming her down and scolding Hubs for choosing some floozy over your blood family. Hubs apparently flipped and called out his family on their weird babying of sister-in-law, saying they made her into a spoiled monster. This just started a huge screaming match between all of them, before Hubs said he wasn't speaking to them for the foreseeable future before storming out. That's when he called me and told me to block all of his family. And before I could hang up, I started getting tons of calls/texts from all of them just saying the most hateful stuff to me. All of my socials, from my personal Insta to my work email, were bombarded with hate until I managed to block all of them, but it took weeks for them to all stop. The only people in Hub's family who weren't harassing us were his paternal grandparents, his maternal grandmother, a few of his cousins on both sides, and his paternal aunts/uncles. Actually, I think all of the hate was from his maternal side, though not all of them. After blocking them, all things were peaceful. Until a few weeks later, our friend Kelly's car was vandalized really bad when she stayed at our house for the weekend. I'm talking the sides were keyed. All the tires were slashed, the windows were sprayed painted, and they even tore off the tag and shoved it down into the driver's side door where the window slides down. We checked the doorbell cam and it was sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Seems they mistook Kelly's car for mine since both Kelly and my car are black. I lent my car to my mom since hers needed new tires and I could use Hubs if needed. Needless to say, we called the cops and Kelly pressed charges on both of them. Thankfully, with the video evidence, she said she was able to make a no-fault claim against Ashley, who had insurance, and Kelly got her repairs paid for, though barely. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law getting arrested caused a huge rift in Hub's family, between those who don't think it was necessary that they be arrested, though most think they should have just paid for repairs out of pocket, and those who think they got what was coming to them. Also, the arrest cost brother-in-law his job at a university. Hub's cousin Brenda, who is keeping us in the loop, told us that anyways. We didn't look into it. Lastly, Brenda also informed us that during the whole family drama thing, it was revealed that Ashley is only their half-sister, according to the maternal grandmother anyways. Seems she verbally tore mother-in-law to pieces after mother-in-law insinuated sister-in-law hadn't done anything to deserve this treatment. Brenda said their grandmother said, "You felt bad that your husband didn't love her because he knew she was just your shameful affair baby. So you loved her more than your other kids in some twisted effort to make up for it. And you pulled your other kids into doing it too, and all you did was succeed in spoiling her rotten." Brenda told us more, but that part is what really stuck in my mind. Honestly, hearing all of that was unbelievable for me. I had no idea this level of drama was buried in my husband's family. Then again, neither did he. And all of this snowballed from a ruined ravioli dinner. Hubs and I have decided to distance ourselves from that part of his family for now. After handing Kelly a copy of the video of sister-in-law and brother-in-law tearing up her car, we more or less washed our hands of dealing with them all. And I've been way less stressed lately. Hubs too, that we've both noticed. So, not a terrible end? Not sure who will see this update, but I'll be logging out of this account after a while since I think everything is mostly over. Thanks for reading, and extra thanks for everyone who sent me so many kind messages after my first post. It made me feel a lot better. Wow. Just wow. I figured there would be some drama from sister-in-law, but not her and her own husband nuking their lives like this. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with a soap opera level of drama. Holy moly. Thank you for the update, and I wish you and your husband all the best. Honestly, hearing all of that was unbelievable for me. I had no idea this level of drama was buried in my husband's family. The story went off the rails. I figured it was going to be some family timeout time, and they'd call it a day. Was not expecting a valley of hidden shame. My goodness. At least Ashley got her comeuppance in the end. I wonder if she knew she was an affair baby before this. Lots of drama and psycho behavior. Your poor husband. I can't imagine losing everyone you love because your half-sister is a complete basket case. But she's that way because her mother's shameful secret. Grandma was not playing. Total savage, and I love her for it. Thank God you had people who had your back. And amen for that doorbell camera footage. I can't believe she went that far because she was finally called out on her behavior. I wish you all the best and good luck with your future happiness. You rule. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for having my husband drive me back to shore when I wasn't allowed to fish? I-32 female rented a boat 2 weeks ago to go fishing. My husband suggested we celebrate his birthday at the same time, which is coming right up because he loves boating. I had no problem with it, but the whole rental was originally so I could fish. He invited our mutual friend Greg along, which was no big deal. But it soon turned into Greg driving everywhere and telling us to relax and have a few beers. He refused to sit on one spot for more than 10 to 15 minutes, so I wasn't able to fish at all. Every time I would have a line out for more than 5 minutes, he would ask if we were ready to move on to the next spot. At one point, even bringing us to a crowded sandbar beach where I obviously wasn't able to fish. Roughly 3 hours in, I asked if they could stop driving around so I could do some fishing, and he immediately stopped the boat. No questions asked. But it got really awkward after that. Greg making comments about how he wished he liked to fish, so he could understand the hype of sitting in one single spot while on a boat, because he can't stand it. Heavily sighing and pacing the boat, etc. I know for a fact he wasn't trying to be a prick. He truly just couldn't stand sitting in one spot so that I could fish. So my husband at this point was getting uncomfortable with how awkward Greg was unintentionally making things, and said, "Well, babe, are you about ready to move to the next spot?" At this point, I just asked them to bring me back to shore. Both of them started protesting and apologizing, saying it was fine and we could stay there longer. But at this point, I was so over the entire trip because I didn't get to fish more than 25 minutes at this point. They bring me back to shore, still apologizing, and Greg saying he was sorry for ruining my fishing trip. And I just said it was fine and walked off to my car without saying another word to them. Well, after my husband got home, he was really quiet. And when I asked why, he said that it was a bummer that I chose to leave instead of just enjoying the boat for what it was. He said he understands my frustrations, but he couldn't understand why I took it to a level of ruining my entire day and leaving him on a boat that was meant for us. Greg paid me half of the cost I spent to make up for it too. So now I'm wondering if I'm really in the wrong considering the whole point of me getting the boat was to go fishing. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add, both Greg and my husband knew I rented a boat to fish. My husband even brought his fishing pole but didn't end up using it. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Inviting Greg defeated the entire purpose. Lesson learned, I hope. The boat wasn't for the us he mentioned because Greg was also there. I would understand if it were two couples, but a married couple plus husband's friend? It's just strange and awkward. Plus, he hijacked your fishing trip. He could have said, or asked, to just enjoy this weekend with him during his birthday and go fishing another time. Edit, he had his fishing pole with him, so he knows how fishing works. He just wanted to get drunk on a boat. It doesn't have to be awkward. My significant other and I have been together for 16 years. We've done camping trips, mini vacays, or day trips with one extra person many times. It's only awkward if you make it awkward. We make a point to be welcoming and chill. That being said, Greg took over the trip, which is rude since he was invited along and didn't take part in planning. If either Opie or her hubby knew Greg was going to want to drive around the whole time, maybe he wouldn't have gotten an invite. Also, if I rented a boat, I'd be the only one driving. I wouldn't be risking anyone being dumb and costing me big bucks paying for damages. So if Greg just took over driving and asked, he's doubly the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You wanted to fish and rented a boat. You weren't able to fish. Letting Greg do the day the way he wanted to do it was a mistake. He was your guest and should have behaved like one. Also, if Greg doesn't like to fish, then he should have declined the invitation. I don't like to fish. I would never say yes to joining someone on a fishing trip. It's like if someone decided to tag along when I was trying to bag a peak, but they hate hiking. Just why? Not the a-hole. Greg is a bad guest. They know your hobby is fishing, right? They know you originally rented a boat to fish, right? They should have been courteous and split up the boat time equally. Also, Greg should take his own advice. Relax, have a few more beers, instead of pacing and complaining like a child.